So today we are going to talk about how to best prepare for TEF and TCF Canada exams. As you know, or you might not know, I'm talking to you on behalf of B Barters. B Barters is a organization, and we are in this domain of helping students to prepare for TEF and TCF Canada exams since April 2020. So it's about 2.5 years now. And we have spoken with numerous students throughout this journey of 2.5 years and interacted with them. What did they find difficult? How was their journey? What were the factors behind their success? So all that information that we have helped us prepare this small session about how to best prepare for these exams. You already know, you're already aware of our website, bbarters.com. So if you want more information about us or our programs, please visit. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Telegram, Instagram, and LinkedIn for more information. Everywhere, it's pretty much our handle is same. I'm just gonna post it in the comments very quickly. The the links to these things to all our handles so that uh, you guys can follow us there. Okay, so Facebook will be Barters. Telegram is also be Barters. Then we have Instagram, which is slightly different, be Barters. And then we have LinkedIn, which is again be Barters. All right, moving on from that, before we go into the challenges of preparation for these exams and what needs to be done, uh, let's quickly come to this point, which is super important. We understand that most of the students who come to us, or most of the viewers who are going to watch this session, are interested in learning French for Canadian immigration. And that is true, that remains the principal objective. However, once you have decided that you are going to learn French and attempt these exams for Canadian immigration, you have to focus on French. You must commit to French once you take that decision that, okay, I am going to need French, but after you take that decision, you commit. You keep a tab on immigration and draws and CRS scores and everything, but you have to commit to French. And what helps is to understand or to give it a thought why to do this besides Canadian immigration. Of course, Canadian immigration is an objective, it's a big deal. That was the sole reason why I started learning French. But at the beginning of this journey, you should also give it a thought about why should I do this besides Canadian immigration. Just put Canadian immigration aside and think about why you should do it besides that. For example, you could treat it as something new, something exciting, something challenging. It's really, really good for personality and career growth. It opens new possibilities, like it opened up European job market for me, France and other countries. And of course, you will get a lot of travel benefits. So I'm not going to preach you about the benefits of French again, but you have to think about it. Give yourself ample reasons to commit to French and to study French, apart from obviously Canadian immigration, which remains the principal objective. So this is super important, guys. Before you start your journey, before you commit, think about it, get excited about it, look at all the benefits possible for learning French apart from immigration, and that will really, really help you. So once we get this out of the way, now we are going to talk about challenges in preparation. And these are the challenges that we have noticed from our interaction with our students, from their experiences, their journeys, which we have monitored over the last 2.5 years. So we are able to list some of these challenges in the preparation of TEF and TCF Canada. First thing is time constraints and priority management. Then another big challenge is sustaining motivation, language aptitude and practical approach to learning, finding efficient study partners or community, then countering morosité, that's a French word. English word is morosity, but it actually comes from French morosité. Being prudent with resources, super important, and then eventually finding good guidance. So let's dive into these challenges one by one. We'll discuss them in brief, and then obviously we will also take your questions, anything you want to ask regarding preparation, and we'll try to address them. So the first challenge that we're going to discuss today is time constraint and priority management. When you set out for this journey, you should be able to set yourselves realistic timelines. How much time do you have? Under within how much time can you accomplish this task? We have always said right from the beginning when we started helping students in 2020, mid 2020, is it takes for a complete beginner with no history of French or any other similar European language like Italian or Spanish, it takes minimum 9 to 12 months. That's the best case scenario for a complete beginner. Okay. So keep that in mind. Of course, you can do better and you can do worse. It really depends on a lot of factors, but that's a generic timeline. 9 to 12 months is the optimum period or the best case scenario for people who are starting from scratch. Then, for achieving that, you have to manage priorities. Now, most of the students that work with us or we work with them are, adults like close to 30 years or even 30 plus years of age. And obviously, at that age, we have, jobs, families, a lot of other constraints. Amidst all that, we have to set the priority. We have to give it importance, this journey. Otherwise, it's not possible to achieve that in 9 to 12 months because we understand and respect your obligations, your responsibilities. But at the same time, if you want to get this done, you will have to make some compromises and provide this goal, this objective of yours, some priority. Maybe not first priority, but somewhere in top three. That's super important. You have to do that. Otherwise, you can spend as much money as you want on joining courses, buying resources, trying to do all kind of stuff on internet, but it's not going to help. So you have to manage your priorities. More importantly, you have to plan milestones. So you know the bigger picture, what you need to do, what you need to achieve in order to get the CRS benefit. But you also need to plan the milestones. Like you cannot directly go from nothing to B2 plus. So plan milestones, and the milestones do not have to be DELF milestones. They do not have to be A1, A2, B1, B2. That is more like a DELF way of thinking. Okay, it doesn't have to be that, because traditionally, before Canadian immigration benefit came into limelight, students used to learn French for hobby, passion, for career reasons. And DELF exams are the popular way of certifying yourself or getting to know your level, right? Testing your level. But the timelines are different. Usually in Alliance Francaise, on an average, uh, they have they specify how many hours and how many months it takes from going to A1, A2, B1, B2. Those timelines are not applicable in our discussion. We are not applying those timelines for our journey. If we were applying those timelines to this journey, then this journey would become much longer, at least 2 times longer than what we are proposing. So you have to understand that DELF milestones may not apply to this journey of preparing for TEF and TCF Canada. So, what kind of milestones can you set then? When I was studying for TEF and TCF Canada, and that was the only reason I started learning French, uh, because at that point of time I was speaking Spanish very well, was that Canadian immigration was my goal, and for that I wanted to learn French and thus clear these exams. So obviously I did not go for DELF model, or I did not go for traditional Alliance, you know, institute courses, because I had time constraints. I couldn't follow that timeline. So what I did still plan the milestones, but what milestones did I plan? So my milestones were more like First milestone is to understand the pronunciation and master the pronunciation. Maybe 1 month. I'll give myself 1 month, or I get acquainted with French language using Duolingo. Some basic vocabulary, some basic sentence construction. So 1 month. Okay, get it done. So I should be able to read French the way it is supposed to be pronounced. That was the first milestone. 1 month. After that, complete the grammar. Study the grammar, understand the grammar, practice sentences, sentence structure, all the intricacies of grammar syntax. And I gave myself 3 months, I think, if I remember correctly, for that. So that was my second milestone. Next milestone was improving my speaking skills, and then writing. So I had this custom milestones. They were not the DELF milestones necessarily. So I had to create my own life milestones so that I could celebrate these milestones and make assessment of where am I, and how much further I have to go. So we can at B Barters, we will definitely help you to plan these milestones which are more aligned with TEF and TCF Canada preparation. But you must plan these milestones. Next important thing is you must understand the exams that you are trying to succeed in. That is TEF and TCF Canada. Again, many occasions, people come to us saying that I have completed DELF B2 or I have completed DELF A2, A1. Now, how long it will take? Or I have done DELF A2 course from this and this institute. Now, tell me how long it will take. What you have to understand is these exams that you are targeting are different in structure, difficulty level, approach than DELF and DALF exams. So the mapping is not straightforward. So you must understand these exams. What do they need? And just prioritize that more than DELF. It's not to say that somebody who has cleared DELF B2 is not closer to success. Of course they are, because they have spent that much time in language. That definitely helps. But at the same time, these exams, TEF and TCF Canada, they do demand certain type of preparation, then that which is not necessarily same as DELF. And for those people who are starting from scratch, I would rather say that do not go to DELF model anyway, because you are setting yourself different timelines. You are bracing yourself for different challenges. These exams are very tough, quite much more tougher than DELF. That is, we have videos on that in our playlist. If you want to, you can visit them, or you can do your own research for, if you don't want to take our word. So you must understand these exams, what kind of skills you need for these exams, uh, and do not compare them with other exams or other courses. For this, it's very important that you must discuss with experts. When I say experts, people who have given these exams, people who have succeeded in these exams, people who have helped other people in succeeding in these exams. Because what really happens many times is that there are a lot of trainers for French who have certifications of DELF, who have certifications of other universities or diplomas. But really, it is really important that person who is guiding you knows these exams very, very well. That's very important. So you must discuss these things with experts. Then we move on to the second point, which is sustaining the motivation. This definitely has been one of the biggest challenges for most of the students that we have worked with in last 2.5 years. People start with a lot of enthusiasm, they start with a lot of hope, they start with a lot of positivity, but it's not a short journey, it's pretty long journey. For the best case scenario, we are talking about 9 to 12 months, but most often it it's more than that, because students find it very difficult to sustain the motivation. So what can help when it comes to sustaining motivation? You must understand the benefits of investment of your time and efforts. First is clearly immigration to Canada. And there are so many other benefits that we have already talked about, not only in this session, but also in other sessions, like, career opportunities in Canada, in Europe, personality growth, travel opportunities, so many things. But You must understand the benefits and you must picturize them. You know, if I master French, if I'm able to speak French, if I'm able to work in a French environment, what kind of benefits I will have in my life? How will my life change for better? Imagine yourself in Canada, in Vancouver, for example. So you must picturize the benefits. And once you picturize them and you understand them, all of them, not just Canadian immigration, but all of them, that will really help you sustain the motivation throughout your journey and not just at the beginning. You must keep reminding yourself that this investment of time and effort is worth it. It's going to bring so many benefits in my life. You must understand and keep reminding yourself of that, and that will help you sustain the motivation. You must enjoy the process. So, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on end result, or where am I? Am I A1? Am I A2? Am I, where am I? Why I'm not being, so much emphasis and so much focus on results, or that will not help you. So you must enjoy the process, like, enjoy learning each new topic, enjoy watching some videos, enjoy listening to music, enjoy speaking in French. Even if you are making mistakes, doesn't matter, speak in French. Even sentences or greetings or learning a new word, or I don't know, like discovering something new about France or culture. So you must enjoy the process. You should not only emphasizing on where am I, A1, A2, B1, when will I do this, how much time more. Enjoy the process. Like Mahendra Singh Dhoni used to say, enjoy the process. Celebrating milestones, as we clearly spoke about just a couple of minutes back in the previous section, you must plan milestones. And once you plan them and you achieve them, hopefully with the help of good guides, you must celebrate your milestones. You must feel good about yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, I accomplished this in last 1 month. This month I'm going to do this. So you must celebrate the milestones. You should definitely have motivating teachers. That goes without saying. I have always believed that being a good teacher is not just about being a subject matter expert. It's about your ability to motivate, inspire your students. Because just because some teacher like myself, they know all the answers or they have all the knowledge, doesn't help the students. I have seen PhD professors, professors who have done PhD from Harvard and all the amazing reputed universities, but they're not able to teach very well because they are so full of knowledge and expertise. But if they cannot transpire the energy, if they cannot transmit the inspiration or motivation to the students, their knowledge and their expertise is of no use. So definitely you should have motivating teachers, and it could be at bbarters, it could be at somewhere else, no issues, but you should definitely be looking for motivating teachers. Another way to sustain motivation is to find study partner or partners, and we emphasize on that right from the beginning. And it's a painstaking process, it's not easy process, it's as difficult as finding a life partner or romantic partner or business partner. You have to go through your share of bad apples, but it's worth it because it's going to help you big way in sustaining the motivation, which is crucial, because you're going to get some energy, you're going to get some help. Just to, they will push you. A good study partner will push you. Let's say you're going through this period of few weeks where you're not motivated for studying, you have too much work at office or some domestic issue, and you're struggling, but you have already made a commitment to this study partner that you're going to meet at Wednesday 9 p.m. on Google Meet, and you're going to study passé composé, for example. So this guy will, or this partner of yours will remind you, okay, you had given me word, okay, I understand you are tired, but let's still do half an hour of study or half an hour. It helps, it really helps when somebody is there to push you. So do invest some time and energy in finding a study partner right from the beginning. It's going to take some time. You're going to find somebody with whom it's not going to work out after a few times, but keep finding, and you will definitely, hopefully you'll find somebody good enough, efficient partner, and that will help you in sustaining the motivation. We at bbarters definitely help in that regard. We have student communities, and we always do group sessions. We never do individual tutoring, and that's for the same reason. We don't think, like, I don't believe that language learning is very efficient by yourself. You need to be in a group setting, which is very, very important. So that was about sustaining motivation. That was one of the biggest challenges that we have seen our students face. Then we talk about language aptitude and practical approach to learning. And this is also a reason where people struggle. This is also a challenge where people struggle a lot, what we have seen. Our students that we have interacted with come from different backgrounds. Some come from technological background, some come from medical background, some come from variety of backgrounds. And as adult learner, we are talking about people over 30 years of age. It's not the same learning attitude or approach as that of high school kids or middle school kids. This is a completely different ball game. So everyone brings their own experiences, learning experiences from their fields, from their previous education. And unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't help in learning a natural language like French. So learning natural languages like Spanish, French, Italian, English, they need certain kind of language aptitude, or otherwise practical approach to learning. What do I mean by this language aptitude? You must embrace the imperfection, meaning there's not going to be a time that you're going to be perfect in a language, you know. Like, it's like doing yoga. We don't say doing yoga, we say practicing yoga, because you don't master a pose, within some time. It happens eventually, but and there's still scope for improvement. So you keep practicing it. You start at a point, at a basic point, when somebody says breathe, as simple as that. And then somebody says, okay, stretch your arm. So start like that. But there is always scope for improvement. You practice. So language is like that. You cannot expect perfection at any point of time. Even today, as I'm speaking to you in English, now I've been using English for so many years, I'm sure I'm making errors while I'm speaking, grammatical errors, pronunciation errors, all sorts of errors. Obviously, I can improve. Yes, that will happen. So with French, it's the same thing. When you start, even at A0, A1 level, whichever level you are at, you try to use the language in that level without expecting perfection or without expecting no mistakes or zero mistakes. And that is where people really struggle. People do not use the language because they think they're not good enough, and because they do not use, they are not good enough. So it's a vicious circle. So you have to embrace the imperfection. I'll give you my example. So it's been 1 year for me in France, um, and I work in a French environment where nobody speaks English in my company where I work. Even then, I do struggle because people come from different regions of France. They have different accents. Sometimes, mostly, we are working online, so people don't have good microphones. So it's a struggle for me to have perfect, you know, easy conversation like English. Like I used to work in India and US all these years, but I don't I don't feel bad about it. I feel like learning experience, like imperfection. I don't understand everything that they say, but I understand good enough, just enough to do my job. I speak really well, but sometimes the accents are difficult to understand, especially the southern French accents. But that's fine because I know if I keep working in France, if I keep living here, keep making friends, keep going out, it's going to improve with time. So it doesn't bother me imperfection, that I'm not as good as I'm in English. I'm not as good in French as I'm in English. It doesn't bother me. It's a journey. I still keep using it. Second thing is embracing the language. Now every language has its, you know pluses and minuses. French is quite difficult in pronunciation. It also has exceptions in grammar and stuff like that. And sometimes it really bothers us in the beginning, especially in the beginning couple of months. Oh, why is this like this? Why it should be like this? It should not be like this. It would have been so much simpler with that, and not that. We do this. Everyone goes through this. Don't worry, you're not the only one. Everybody goes through this. Why the hell is it so difficult? It doesn't have to be so difficult, especially when we compare that with English or Spanish in my case. But you have to accept a language. And what helps is the fact that French is spoken in 27 odd countries by millions of people. Millions of people. So if they do it, people who are much less educated than you, people who have much lesser resources than you, if they can do it, you can do it. So accept the language. Do not fight it. Do not fight it. Oh no, it's too difficult. It's very weird. Don't do that. Just accept the language as it is without questioning it too much. And this questioning happens because we are adult learners. We are now in a phase where we are analytical all the time. We are questioning why we need to rationalize everything, but that really delays your journey. That really creates a lot of obstacles. So at some level, embrace the language. It is what it is. Millions of people still speak it. It sounds weird. It is structured weirdly. Some of the words are weird, but it is what it is. I'm going to accept it with its faults. That's the part of language aptitude, and that is where most of the people struggle. They really compare it with English or Spanish or any other language, and they get stuck there. Why? I cannot make sense of this. So it's fine if you cannot make sense of something, accept it or ignore it or move on. There are so many things in language, thousands of things. Make mistakes. Yes, very crucial. You should never be afraid of making mistakes in language. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be enthusiastic. You just have to be a risk taker to learn a language. I can say with proud, I'm very proud of myself that when I was studying Spanish, I was the first in my class in India to start speaking Spanish, and same, pretty much the same thing in French. And the reason I think that was possible because I was ready to take risk. I was not afraid to make mistakes. So it's very important to make mistakes in language. Very, very important. Use English to your advantage. So go back to English. Like, what are your favorite words in English? What are your favorite expressions in English? Find yourself, find your English preferences, and then use them, because most likely what is going to happen, the way you speak English is the way you're going to speak French. But English can also be your enemy. It can also become your weakness if you are constantly trying to translate word to word. And we try to tackle this at BBarters when we work with our students. But that is not to say that English cannot be your strength. You can use English to understand what are your favorite things in a language, and you can try to learn them in French so that it becomes easier for you. You don't change yourself. You remain yourself, you just change the language. So we'll talk about it more in detail later. But these are some of the things that you have to work on to overcome this challenge of language aptitude. We already touched upon this a little bit. Finding efficient study partner, multiple partners it could be, or it could be community. Invest in this. It's not simple. It doesn't happen like you just ask somebody and you start. It doesn't work like that. It's, as I said, it's like finding a romantic partner or business partner. You have to go through your bad apples and stuff like that. So invest from beginning. Be ready for disappointments. As I said, set your expectations. Like, what is important to you? They must be committed, they must be punctual, they must be sincere, they must have certain work ethic. You should have your expectations so that it's easier for you to filter people. And try to create a win-win. Try to think about what will you give. Maybe your partner and you will have different strengths. Maybe you are very good at documenting, so you offer them, okay, you know what, you do this practice part. I'm not good at speaking, so you provoke me or you prompt me to speak. I will document everything. So many times the problem is that when we are looking for study partners, we are looking for perfect partners, or somebody must be better than me, somebody must be more intelligent than me, somebody must be more having more time than me. That's the problem. You find a partner who is good enough and try to see both of you, how can you complement, create a win-win. Maybe they are good at something, you are good at something. So don't be stuck with this finding a perfect partner. That's not gonna happen, more or less. If you're lucky, maybe yes, but it's tough. So yeah, keep focus on this because this is going to help you a lot in your journey. Next challenge in the preparation of TEF and TCF Canada is countering morosity. In English, we say morosity, but it's from French origin word called as morosity. It becomes boring, especially when we are working under this sort of very aggressive timelines of doing this in, like, 8 to 9 months. It can be very daunting, can be very boring. So you need to find an energetic guide which who enthuses energy in classes and in your journey. So that's super important. You must be ready to experiment, and this is individualistic. That is to say, a lot of times we are asking for, what can I do, please tell me. You invent, you experiment, because these are personal things. You can try something. This is very unique to you. Make it unique, your journey. Try to experiment. Maybe, watch some series, I don't know. Listen to podcast. Some people like podcast, some people don't like podcast. So do something, but experiment a bit. Hmm? Add media, very important. The next point, music. I told you many times, I shared this with my students all the time. In the first few months of my French journey, I spent some time in researching. I did not know much about French music at all or any French artist before I started learning French. So I invested some time in listening some few hundred songs. I created a playlist of about 100 songs, which I really liked in French. And I understood some lyrics, some words, not sentences. And then I just kept listening to them all the time, even when I was studying grammar or something in the background, because they really helped me to fall in love with the language, to love the way it sounded, the way it was pronounced, the beauty of French in music. So you can add media for your, countering morosity. Involve people, again, without repeating. Involve people. Try to study in a group setting. Try to find a study partner. Try to have a very good teacher with energy in abundance. So that will help you counter your morosity, because self inspiration is all good and well, but it's also sometimes not sufficient, or it's tough to have self inspiration all the time. So maybe sometimes take inspiration from outside. That's completely fine. Change study routines. um yeah, like, alternate between grammar, speaking, listening. Change. Doesn't have Don't try to do everything at the same time. Don't try to just study grammar for, like, 2 3 months. It's probably going to get boring. So yeah, try to change the study routine a bit. Involve some writing here and there, some listening, some speaking. Yeah, and get rid of your morosity. Then we move on to being prudent with resources. This is also a big problem that many students face, because it's a very difficult task. We are always trying to find shortcuts. We are trying to find extra help, or can somebody do it for me? Can somebody make it easier for me? Can this book be better than other? Can I find an application which just makes it so much easier? Eventually, no matter how much you pay, how much you want to spend time or money, most of the language learning will be done by yourself. That's the naked truth that I have to tell you. So do not keep on wasting so much time in finding newer books and newer applications and newer websites, and try this course and that course and this teacher and that teacher. It's only going to help to a certain extent. So once you identify your resources, whether it's applications, books, or courses, that's it. Stop looking. Just use them. I'll tell you one simple example. So we have this program, online tutorials program, that we usually offer to students when we are not conducting live programs. We're going to start live programs in 1 week's time, but mostly once we start a live program, we don't take admission for like 8 9 months. So during that period, we usually offer the tutorials program, and we have so many resources, so many documents, podcast links, so many things. And I'm so sure that even the most sincere students who have completed entire course do not end up using all of them, do not end up listening to all the things that we tell them. So, what is important is to have some resources, but making most of them rather than always to be on a lookout for new apps and new books and better teachers. It feels good to have more better things, but it's really at the end of the day, it's about you and what do you make out of it. So find your apps, stick with them. Have less, make most out of it. Less is more, remember. And because it's a language, it doesn't change. Like, language doesn't change for years. It's not like it's a technology framework which is getting updated every 6 months. Language is language. So most of the books are going to tell the same thing. Okay, yes, some books are better written than others. That's why you should take help from experts. Identify those books which, that's why we recommend what we recommend, because we went through this journey of trying all the books, all the applications, and then I realized that, oh, this is much easier to understand than the other book. So we have already gone through this pain for you. So take help from experts so that you save that time. And once you do that, just trust people or trust the book, because again, it's a language, it doesn't change a lot. It hasn't changed for hundreds of years. So once you identify the books or you take somebody's advice that these are the books and apps, put your attention on how do you make most of it, how do you complete them, rather than after studying 20 pages, oh, maybe I could find another book. No, it doesn't help. It's the same thing as people struggle in relationships in modern countries now with this dating apps. They're always swiping, always looking for better things, but there's just no perfect thing. There's just, you know work more with less things. That's the key to success. Then we go to finding good guidance. Last point. This is another challenge in this journey. Goes without saying, look for energetic people. Very important. Language learning is an art. It falls under this category of art. It's not a technical thing. So you need energy. It's an art. You need passion. So you need to be with people like that. Risk taker, as I said, risk takers, not the traditional, methodologies. Look for people who know the exams, who have given the exams. That helps because they know how to optimize the learning for that particular exam. More importantly, look for honesty. It's very difficult to find honesty in education sector, especially in India or our country, because it has become business. It was a very sacred tradition in ancient Indus civilization. All the Sanskrit texts, I read a lot of Sanskrit text in Paris with a meditation group, and all of these ancient texts talk about respecting teachers and culture of teaching and everything. But now I see we have e-learning companies and Byju's and everything. It's so much about marketing and so much about selling. So people say anything and everything to sell. Like, oh, you can do it in 5 months. Yeah, you can do it in 4 months. Oh, you can. Yeah, I mean, if you want to listen to lies, why not? You want to pay money, why not? If it makes you feel good, why not? Be your own, judge. But really look for honesty, because that will help a lot in succeeding, or enjoying the journey, or learning something, taking something away from it. Honesty is very important. So yeah, those are the things that you should be looking for when you're looking for guidance. That's pretty much all the challenges that we identified with when we are interacting with students, or we when I was giving or preparing for the exam, and many of my teammates who work at BBARTS also went through this journey for exams. So those are the challenges that we identified and we talked about them. But now it's over to you. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section, and we will dedicate 10 to 15 minutes for answering the questions when it comes to preparation for TEF and TCF Canada. While you're typing your questions, I must let you know that we are, as you probably are aware, we're going to start our live batches extensive preparation program for TCF and TF Canada. It starts on 10th September. There's still 1 week to go, and we do have some spots left in one of our batches. So in case you are still interested, or you please visit our website bbartos.com, and this page basically, and you can apply. We are still considering applications till tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final deadline because programs are starting now on 10th. So in case you want to apply, you should be able to apply till tomorrow. And if you have any questions about the program and what it does and how it is implemented, feel free to write to us at info@bbarters.com. You can also ask questions right now. No worries about anything. We are ready to respond. And what else? I already talked to you about all the social media. So yeah. Questions based on the discussions that we had today or the presentation that we made today. Anything? Okay, Siddharth has asked, share any tips for reading TEF exam. Reading. We have, Siddharth, a dedicated video in our playlist. We have a playlist for TCF and TEF Canada preparation. We have a dedicated video for reading exam of TEF, and that definitely talks about those tips because it will take time. Uh, but I can summarize a couple of them. Is planning in the sense that, like as I said, first 13 questions or 16 questions are super easy, sort of much easier, and last 10 are very easy. So what I always say is that you do first 16 and last 10, first 17 and last 10, 27, and then you secure them 27 out of 50, so that's more than 50%, so that's your security. And then you start attempting the slightly more complex or difficult questions, that is question number 18 to question number 40 till question number 40. So that's definitely one very important thing to remember. And it is totally possible in TEF Canada reading to jump from one question to another. So do first 17, then do last 10, and then come back to the middle ones. That's probably the most important tip I can give you. Scan the question first. What do you mean by scan the question first? Any tips like that? Should I just scan the question first? Yeah. Inevitably, you will have to do that because there will be paragraphs, and especially considering the point that most of the students are going to attempt the exam in after 1 year of, on an average, 1 year of preparation. There will not be a scenario where you will understand each and every word and each and every sentence in the paragraphs. That's just not going to happen. It takes a lot of years of studying to get that perfect in French. So essentially, you are basically looking for keywords from the question in the paragraph and, you know, matching and then selecting the option. And that is why all the questions being multiple choice questions with 4 options really helps, because you don't really have to understand every word and every sentence. You just have to get the gist of it, and then you can find the correct answer. You can even eliminate some of the options which are simply not possible. Yep. So in short, yes, you can do that. Questions? Any other questions? Feel free to ask questions. This is why we do this live sessions. Any questions? Okay, Amir is saying how much do we need to get CLB 7 in listening TF? If I understand your question correctly, what you're trying to say, how many answers you need to get correct out of total number of questions to get the CLB 7 score? Is my understanding correct? Amir, is that the question that you're asking? Okay, assuming that was the question, I would say there are 60 questions in TEF Canada listening test, and I would for CLB 7 you need to get 45 plus minimum 45 questions correct out of 60. So that's a safe figure. It's it's not that difficult because we have this series going on right now on our YouTube channel where we are comparing TEF and TCF Canada, which one is easier and which one not. So we are basically comparing each module, reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Um, and for listening TEF, like last 10 and first 20. So the 30 questions are quite fairly easy, 30 out of 60. So all you need to do is out of rest of the 30, you need to get 15 plus right, which is not a tough ask. I mean, given that you are already at some kind of intermediate level. But yeah, so you need to get 45 plus right in general. Other questions? We are awaiting your questions. Okay, can we practice once by ourselves to speak French, watching ourselves in the mirror? You can, vous pouvez, bien sûr, mais c'est pas préférable. C'est-à-dire, okay, so I would say, je dirais, that would be my last resort. I would still try to speak with somebody, even if that person is not an expert. Doesn't matter. Even if they are fellow students like you, that's okay. They will have some knowledge of French. Whether it's at your level or better than you, or even less level than you. But doesn't matter. Speak with somebody. That's preferable rather than speaking with a mirror. But it's still an option. Yeah, yeah. I would still say though that